Ever felt that prickle on the back of your neck? That sense of unease when you're alone? Sometimes our instincts scream danger when there's no logical reason why. Today, we are diving into 3 true tales where ordinary people face the unsettling and the unexplained. Each story comes from real people. Get ready to question what you believe. I'm 23 years old. This happened one October afternoon when I went to the grocery store. I pulled into the grocery store parking lot. It was fairly empty. I noticed a man sitting alone in a white car with all the windows down, parked about 3 or 4 spaces from me. At first, I didn't think much of it, so I drove past him and parked further down. I was about to head into the store, but I decided to quickly check my phone first. I sat there, scrolling through my feed. But then, out of nowhere, someone tapped on my car window. I quickly turned. Standing right there, practically pressed against my car window, was an elderly woman, maybe 70 or 80 years old. She was uncomfortably close, staring at me through the glass. It completely caught me off guard. Then, she tapped on my window again. This time, she pressed her face against the glass, trying to peer inside my car. I could see her face, so close to the window, and it genuinely frightened me. Part of me thought, maybe I should roll down the window. Maybe she needed help, right? However, something about the whole situation felt off. My gut was telling me this wasn't normal. The way she was acting, it all gave me a really bad feeling. So, I made a split-second decision. I started my car and drove out of that parking space as fast as I could. As I drove away, I glanced in my rearview mirror. I saw her walking toward another car, holding a piece of paper. That's when I noticed another detail. Remember the white car? The one with the man inside? It was completely empty now. So, this old woman must have gotten out of that car and walked across the entire parking lot to where I was parked. And she did all of this while I was just looking at my phone. The crazy thing is, I didn't see her coming at all. She basically snuck up on me. That's why the tap on the window scared me so badly. After I drove out, I decided to drive to a different grocery store. I know it sounds paranoid, but I didn't want to risk seeing that old woman again. Later that day, I called my mom to tell her what happened. She basically told me that I overreacted big time. She said the old woman was probably just old and needed help. My mom made me feel like I was being ridiculous. Hearing her say all that made me feel pretty guilty. Like maybe I really did overreact. That thought has bothered me ever since. But at the same time, I don't know if I'm completely wrong. The whole situation just felt wrong. I've had similar situations in the past, so I've learned to trust my gut. I'd rather be overly careful than put myself in danger. My mom is 56 years old now, and she's told me this story that has always haunted me. When she was a child, she constantly heard the sound of babies crying, but she never understood where the noise was coming from, or why she was the only one who seemed to hear them. Many years later, my grandma finally told her something. Apparently, right after my mom was born, my grandma had a miscarriage. When my grandma told her everything, things suddenly made sense. But here's where things get even weirder. My parents have told me countless stories about this apartment they used to live in before I was born. They swear it was haunted by a child's ghost. One day, my mom was babysitting my older cousin, Dennis. He was about 4 years old. My mom was in the kitchen when she suddenly heard Dennis scream from the living room. She walked into the room, and he was just sitting there playing with his toys. So, she asked him, "Why did you scream my name?" Dennis looked up at her confused and said, "What do you mean? You called me. I was just answering you." My mom felt a chill run down her spine. My dad was napping, and there was no one else in the apartment. Things would constantly go missing in that apartment. My mom would tear the house apart looking. Then, a few days later, the items would just reappear in places that she knew she had already checked. One time, my great-aunt's earrings went missing. They searched everywhere. Then, about 3 or 4 days after she left, the earrings just showed UP, right on the kitchen table, out in the open. My mom said there's no way they could have missed them. The next thing that happened was crazy. My mom was going through some old family photos. She took a rubber band off one stack, and when she went to put it back on, the rubber band was gone. It made no sense. Then, the landline phone rang. It was my aunt calling. When my mom hung up the phone and turned back around, she almost jumped out of her skin. The rubber band was right there, literally floating in midair, right in front of her face, and then it dropped to the ground. My mom just stood there, frozen. Another time, my parents went out to dinner. They came home, and when my dad looked up, he stopped dead in his tracks. There were crayon scribbles all over the bedroom ceiling. Their first thought was my cousins, but then they realized the kids were too short to reach the ceiling, even with a chair, and they hadn't been to the apartment in several days. So, who drew on their ceiling, and how? Okay, this next story is where things went from weird to genuinely terrifying. My mom was decorating their Christmas tree. She's short, so she had to stand on one of those metal folding chairs to reach the top. After she finished, she folded up the chair and leaned it against the wall. She was only gone for about 30 minutes. When she got home and walked into the living room, she literally froze in the doorway. Every single candy cane she had just hung was gone, completely vanished from the tree. They were all arranged in a neat, perfect little pile on the seat of the metal folding chair, which was now unfolded and placed in the middle of the living room. My mom said she felt like her heart stopped beating. She just stood there staring at it. This next story is the one that still gives me chills. My mom and dad had just gotten into bed for the night. My mom felt something climb onto the bed. You know that feeling of the weight of something on the mattress? She just assumed it was their dog, Askum. So she started nudging it with her foot, saying, "Askum, get down." But whatever it was, wouldn't move. It just stayed there. So, she finally got annoyed and reached over to turn on the bedside lamp. When the light came on, she looked down at her feet, and there was nothing there. But here's the thing, she could still feel it. She could still feel the weight of something sitting right there on the bed. My dad felt it too. They both just stared at the spot, and then suddenly, the feeling disappeared, as if whatever it was had gotten up and left. My parents said that when all of this was happening, They didn't really think it was a big deal. They would just brush it off. It wasn't until after they moved out that they really realized how messed up and unexplainable everything was. A few years later, we were living somewhere else. I was about 5, and my little brother was only a year old. One day, we happened to be in that area, and my parents decided to drive by their old apartment building. As soon as we turned onto that street, my baby brother started crying. I mean full-blown crying, wailing. My parents tried everything, but nothing worked. But the exact moment my dad turned off that street, my brother just stopped, completely stopped crying, as if someone had flipped a switch. Recently, my mom and 2 of my cousins decided to go see a psychic. The psychic was in a group reading, and out of nowhere, she just randomly said my mom's name, Stacy. Then, a few minutes later, the psychic pointed directly at my mom and asked, "What's your name?" My mom said, "Stacy." The psychic nodded and told my mom to please stay after the show. So, my mom stayed, and the psychic gave her a free private reading. She told my mom that throughout the reading, she kept getting bombarded with the name Stacy over and over, as if the spirits were really trying to get through to her. Then, the psychic started calling out specific people's names. She mentioned my grandma, my grandpa, and my uncle. The psychic said that all 3 of them were there in the room, and they all wanted her to know that they were okay and that they were at peace. I've never been one to believe in ghosts. Honestly, I've been pretty skeptical my whole life, but there have been a few strange things that I just can't explain. So, when I was 18 years old, I was living in Savannah, Georgia for college. If you don't know, Savannah is supposed to be one of the most haunted cities in America. One night, I was up really late, probably around 1 or 2 in the morning, just hanging out in my room listening to music. But then, out of nowhere, I saw something move. It was a tall, skinny, black shadow figure, shaped like a person. It walked from the bathroom, across the doorway of my roommate's room. This wasn't just a glimpse. I saw it clearly, for a few seconds. I was really scared, but I didn't move. I thought maybe my eyes were just playing tricks on me. A little while later, something even weirder happened. I started hearing a deep voice, talking to me, in a language I had never heard before. But somehow, I could understand what it meant. It was basically saying that it could help me whenever I needed something. Then, this image popped into my head, like a creature that was half bull and half human. I couldn't stop seeing it in my mind. Now, I was completely terrified at this point. My heart was racing, and I just blurted out loud, "Go away, leave me alone." The voice disappeared. The image in my head vanished. Everything just stopped. I was still shaking. I couldn't tell anyone, because they would think I was crazy, right? So, the next day, I went to this little shop and bought a black tourmaline crystal. The saleswoman said it was supposed to protect you from negative energy. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I was desperate. I kept it next to my bed from that night on, and strangely enough, nothing like that ever happened again. But here's the thing, this wasn't the first weird thing in that apartment. A few weeks before this, I woke up with random bruises all over my legs and arms. I had no memory of bumping into anything. And it wasn't just me. All 3 of my roommates and I talked about how the bathroom creeped us out, especially at night. You would get this heavy, uneasy feeling, as if you weren't alone. Now, I want to make something clear. I've never hallucinated in my entire life. I don't hear voices. I don't see things that aren't there. This time was completely different. I was genuinely terrified, as if something in my gut was screaming that this was dangerous. I still can't figure out what happened that night. It felt too vivid to be something I made up in my head. And here's the craziest part. 2 of my 3 roommates saw the same tall, shadowy figure. One of them had seen it before my experience. Then, another roommate saw it after me. I didn't tell her anything, but then she came to me and described seeing the exact same thing. That's when I told her about my experience. The fact that we all saw the same shadow figure makes it really hard to dismiss it as just my imagination. These stories remind us that the world is full of mysteries we may never fully understand. Sometimes, the most terrifying things are the ones we can't explain. What do you think? Are these tales of genuine paranormal activity, or simply tricks of the mind? Comment your take below. I read everything.